Hello, welcome to Tony's Bonsai. I've got a Norway spruce here. I've never worked on one of these trees before, but I'm itching to get stuck in. You can see here, I got it at a steal. It's a pot grown tree and that's really important. And it was reduced from £30 to £8.99. I've got a lovely bit of light reflecting on the tree here, so I thought I'd show you the trunk. It's over an inch thick. It's got some nice character to it. And I think this has got some great potential as a bonsai. Jay from Blue Jay Bonsai, he actually sent me some money via the thanks tab on YouTube so I could have a drink on my birthday, but I don't drink. Instead, I bought this tree. You do pay a bit more for pot grown trees because obviously it's cost them more to produce. The real good thing about them though is you know that they're fundamentally alive and they've got everything they need to survive within this pot. Whereas when you buy ones that have been transplanted, often they've got almost no root in there. So I'm off to a good start with this one. I'm just removing some of these roots from the edge, although I'm not planning on repotting this tree at the moment. Like everybody else, I was watching Bonsai Relief release his video last week, and what he did is he worked on a Norway spruce and he turned one of the side branches into the new apex, and I happen to have a branch on this tree that's going almost vertically upwards, so that will be perfect for creating a new apex to the tree. And there's not much taper above it, so this could be a really good place to cut the tree. Boom. I did leave quite a long stump, and I've done this so that I can possibly create like a gin at the top. But if I do create a gin, none of these branches are going to be very long on it, so I can cut all these back. I doubt I'll really end up using many of these, really. But you never know, so, you know, even these stumps. And it's going to be dead all the way down to this new apex. And where that new apex is, I've got some branches coming out from there, so they may as well go as well, because they're just in the way. So what I'm trying to do now is clear out this area here so that I can see where this new leader sort of comes from. And these branches are just confusing this part of the tree. They won't be used as gins there, so they can just be removed. So as I turn this round here, I mean, look at all that foliage. There's masses of it. And I need to work out where it's all coming from. So that branch there, here, it is coming off that apex, but right at the base of it, and it's very thick. So it could be left. I could leave that to grow and it would help to thicken this up, but it's going to create problems down the line, I think. And so for simplicity's sake, I'll get rid of that. And that just cleans all this area up now and allows me to sort of see what's happening at the top and make decisions going forward. Now I won't touch any of this up here. None of this that I've got in my hand here will be touched, because the aim now is to thicken this section so that this turns into a new apex. I will strip all the needles off all this section because I definitely don't want this growing, and if I leave that, this will all start putting new buds out, which I don't want. I'll only show a bit, but we just work along with the gin pliers, crushing the bark, and then that should allow us to peel the bark off and reveal the wood underneath. So I'm going to go all around and basically kill off this section. Are you liking my new bonsai knife? Beautiful. I'm happy with how this looks. The ends of these branches still need tweaking, they need sharpening. But before I do that, I've noticed the trunk, which as I say, it tapers up really nicely. It comes up, but then there's a significant swelling here. So from where this comes out, and probably because there were lots of branches coming out at this point, there's been quite a swelling here. And I need to do something about that. One of the things I can do is remove this branch, which is quite thick. I'll just take it off to there, and I may well turn that one into a gin as well to kind of match the top of the tree. So I think this will look good as a gin. But in order to remove some of this bulge here, I'm thinking I can carve out some of the tree and bring this deadwood down into some sort of shari coming down the trunk. So I'm going to go for it. I'm going to start cutting into the trunk here, peeling it away and just really ripping the main fibres of the tree out and hopefully create something interesting. But I've not really done this kind of stuff before, so it's kind of unknown territory for me. But you know, if you don't have a go, you don't learn. But I can't just bite into that section. It needs to come from up here. And I'm thinking I'm going to start off by just removing some of that bark like that, and even just removing the bark does do a pretty good job. But I'm biting in there and I'm going into wood. Here we go. There. So that's into the actual tissue of the tree. I'm going to grab that and pull it upwards. There. And I think I'm going to have to bring it right the way down. These branches might end up having to go, these gins, but I would like to keep those because I think they look good. Right, Let's go. Right, so that's gone in. And what I'd really love is for this to just peel down. So I'm kind of pulling it, instead of just twisting like that, because that seems to snap it off, I'm trying to pull outwards. That snapped it off anyway. It has to match and go upwards all the way to the top. So I'll start at the top actually, pull down, get rid of this branch, and hopefully, if I take a nice cut like that there, that's going. This one's a goner, so I may as well get rid of that. Then if I could peel that down, come on. Oh, that was going really nicely. There. And because that branch has been removed, it's created a lovely shape of deadwood around it, which looks really good actually. These are the details on deadwood that I really like. So as we move in here now, you can see this lovely swirl around that branch, the way the wood comes away and it's hollowed out into that and it's come all the way down. Now I'd like this to continue further if possible. I could definitely leave it at that because from the front here now, it's taken all that swelling and that bulge out and it looks great. However, there is still this lump here, which is kind of not the best. Now I don't want to go too near to the apex because I need that to be nice and healthy, but I think I can do something round here, just pulling the bark off there and maybe taking this round and across a bit. So it's getting a bit adventurous, but I'm going for it. If I can cut into this now there. See, that's just bark. I didn't even get into the main part of the wood there. That's just bark, just being pulled off. Which is great. The only thing is, it is a bit boring when it's just bark, because that'll roll, that'll heel over and it'll create another big problem there. So I do need to take it a little further and I'm just going to go for it. What the heck. So I'm going in like this, like that. Hopefully this just tears a nice piece out. It didn't tear too much out. I definitely need to pull it further down the tree. I'm going to try now with my knife by working my way up the bark like that. There we go. If I can cut into that, there. That's it, that's in. Pull that up. Oop. Break my camera. I like that mark there that comes down. That works well. There. That's a nice clean line of bark to roll. So that looks good, really good. I want to create that on this side as well. Like that. There. So we've developed some kind of hollow. I'm just being careful with my knife because I've sharpened this and it's pretty sharp on this edge here. There we go. And that ugly bulge is now gone. So if the front's now around here somewhere and we get this new apex growing up nice and healthily and strong, beautiful. Now that I'm happy with how this main apex looks, I can do something with these branches. They're a bit straight at the top, so I'll just snap them round like that and just peel them down just to make them look a bit more natural like that. This one here is quite important, so I could do with getting this right. It's a nice one, nice pull there. Oh, that came off well. You never really know how they're going to do, but that's gone nicely. I suppose I could think of that as phase one done. Now what I need to do is get in here and remove a few of the branches that are just no good for the design of the tree. So let's go in and make some decisions. Nothing set in stone, but with this dead feature here and the leader here, I kind of see this as the front of the tree. This has to be my first decision, and it's which of these branches do I keep. Now, I'm tempted to remove the bottom one, but when I spin it round here, we've got another branch at the same height as this top one. I want to keep both of these because this is a nice back branch, and so it has to be the top one to go. And with the position of it, I don't see me ever turning that into a gin, so that may as well be removed. That won't be used, this little one, and I'll cut that right back in, and that'll heal over with a bit of cut paste on it. So I'm keeping these two branches here, and then as we go up the tree, we've got a bit of a whirl happening. It's not really swelled anything up too much, but it would do if I don't remove something. So one of these two branches has to go. And with this one being almost directly above this one, I think this is the natural choice to be removed. That could potentially be a gin, this one. So I'll just take it off there for the time being. Looking up at the tree from the front here, we've got a branch coming kind of towards us, but I don't mind that because it's off to the side. This one here though, this also in some ways could go off to the side, but it seems like a good branch to be removed because that clears up the trunk and lets us sort of see into the tree, which is ultimately what I do want. And there are the odd bit of very weak growth, like close in like that has to go. But we're beginning to get an idea now of what's happening there. Across here where the tree's kind of bulging out a bit, I'm cautious about not adding any more growth there. So I've got two branches. I'll remove the bottom one there, and see, I've got a nice branch there, but three of them, they're all in a row, sort of almost on top of each other. I'm just deciding which one to get rid of, really. This one's kind of a bar branch with that, so I'll cut that back and turn that into a gin. You can't even see it from that camera angle. So this one here is the one I've just cut. I'll turn that into a gin. because it was opposite this one as a bar branch. Yeah, I don't want to take any more off now. This branch at the back here is thick. I've just noticed it. This one is very thick and it's going very vertical here. So I think I need to do something with that. It could either be ginned, but I think I need it for the structure and for the health of the tree, so I'll leave it for the time being. The next job now is to apply some wire to these thicker branches. I want to get them bent down into position. I'm going to be using fairly thick wire, about either 5 or 6 mil. I'll get that applied and come back to you when it's done. The wire's applied to all the main branches, and you might have noticed that I've come over the top. So the first bend around the branch is over the top of every one. And that's because I'm wanting to bend these branches down. And I'm trying to get them down from fairly close in. You know, I don't want them bending out here. So with this one, I'll bend the end upwards, and that allows me to really get that down there. They're notorious for springing back, spruce, so you really do need to get them down, because if you don't get them down now, you know, this is bound to spring back, at least to, I would think, here. So you've almost got to overdo the bend. This one can come down. They are very flexible. That's the good thing about spruce in the favour. You know, although they do spring back, so they're a nightmare to hold in position, they're easy to get into position. I've not put any movement into the branches as of yet, so I'm not twisting them or anything. I'm just taking them down into position. So I've got a back branch here, and with this being something like the front, I do want to see this branch, so I'm going to try and bring it around and across. So this is coming, it's coming down, but it's also coming across like that, so that it's a bit more visible from the front. I'm just looking at it. There are definitely more branches over on this side, so I'm wondering if I'd be better bringing this branch around this way, just to add a bit more weight onto this side. Yeah, that's better, because I've just noticed they do tend to be over here for some reason. They're all these good branches were more on this left hand side, so that's nice. I'll clear all some of this away eventually so that we can still see the trunk, but that's coming nicely down. And again, I've got this other branch here, so as I say, there's plenty over on this side. I've got a couple of thinner branches here. These were the only thin ones that I wired up, and I thought I may as well wire them and get them moving in the right way. So I will move those into the respective positions. Oh, I've got a little gin there that I've not yet done. It'll be too long as it is, that, so I'll just take it back a bit. You can see here the little gin that I created, and above it is this thick branch. The reason it's the hardest is not because it's the thickest, but it's because it's the one that's moving the most upwards. So it's got to move through the greatest range of motion. There. See, I've really bent that, and that's only down to 90 degrees. And I'm sort of torn when it comes to pushing it at the top, because I can easily bend it down like that, no problem. The branch bends easy. It's not that the branch is hard to bend, it's getting the bend from the shoulder, which is what I want. So it's coming down there. I don't want to push it any more than that because I don't want to risk tearing that off at the top. Although it's well supported with this wire, it's such an important branch, I need it. So I won't go any more crazy with that one. And this is the finished tree. I'm really happy with that. And when I say finished, it's only finished obviously at this stage. What I could do now is I could go round, I could thin all these branches down, I could chop them in, I could make it look far better by thinning it out. The problem is, I really don't want to do that because I'm now thinking I've removed enough foliage. I want this to just, you know, get on with growing, being healthy. I might repot it in the spring. We'll just see what happens, but for the time being now, this is good. Well, I've really enjoyed working on this Norway spruce today. I'm kind of amazed how well this top section looks already, and it just goes to show with a bit of inspiration, watching that bonsai relief video, it's inspired me to try this, and it's not as hard as you think. You know, it's achievable, and I can't wait to work on this in the future and start styling these branches, get it a bit more compact, and, you know, take it forward. If you want to follow the progress of this tree, you know what to do. Other than that, thanks for joining me. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon.